Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Jenna, and this video we're diving into my full, unfiltered review of Excellence El Carmen. From the food to the rooms, the pools, and even those little things that made a big impact. If you're planning a trip to the Dominican Republic or considering this resort, then this video is for you. So first off, check-in was smooth and professional. The lobby was gorgeous, spacious, and had a modern tropical vibe. It felt elevated, but still relaxed. The staff greeted us with drinks, and our luggage was taken care of right away. That's always a plus after, a long travel day. When we got to our room, which was the Excellence Suite with the private pool and deck, we did end up wanting to switch to the Excellence two-story terrace suite, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But we ended up staying in the room we originally booked because, well, they were booked up, but the room was spacious. It had a really comfortable bed, a large soaking tub, and a big deck, which I loved. Plenty of space to unwind. But here's where I need to be honest. For the price point, I expected the room to be in better shape. The shower tile was chipped, the grout was coming loose, and there was a nail sticking out on the deck that needed attention. And these are small details, but they started adding up. Now, I do appreciate that the Excellence Resort took care of that nail right away. They were on it. I'll give them that. And these little things, they aren't a deal breaker, but it is something to be aware of, especially when you're paying premium rates. Aside from the maintenance issues, the room was otherwise comfortable and functional. Storage was decent. The walk-in closet was a little bit on the smaller side, but overall there was quite a bit of storage. The lighting was nice. We slept really comfortably. I did appreciate that they had blackout curtains, which made a huge difference. Now, let's move on to the food because I know that's a huge factor for a lot of us. Overall, I'd rate the food a 6 out of 10. Not terrible, but it didn't wow me either. The fish dishes were excellent. I got octopus almost every time that I could, and I did like the octopus. Gave the octopus probably an 8 out of 10. I loved all the fish, but there were some small things that distracted from the overall experience, like the coffee. Some of the restaurants, the coffee was just weak. It felt watered down. It wasn't my favorite. The tortillas were stale majority of the time, which I was a little bit disappointed about. And the tomahawk steak, which I have not tried before since this is not my first Excellence Resort. This was my first time going to dinner at Magnum, so we did decide to get the tomahawk steak, and the presentation was great. But it was really fatty, and I was a little disappointed about that. I personally would have preferred to have gotten the grouper. Out of all the desserts in this entire resort, the standout dessert was definitely the farewell cake that was given to us at Magnum. We ended up going to Magnum for dinner the very last day, and they kind of changed up our experience a little bit, which was kind of fun. So we got a farewell champagne and a farewell cake, which the cake was 10 out of 10, 100%. Loved it. But if you're a dessert lover like me, then your best bet is just to get ice cream and aroma. It was consistently delicious and definitely hit the spot every single time. As far as the dessert at the rest of the restaurants, I was not impressed. Now, as far as the pools go, there are pools everywhere. There's tons of pools, and they did a great job of maintaining the main ones. They were super clean, inviting. However, our suite, I did notice a film on the water and some debris more often than not. Even though the pools were cleaned daily, I felt like the filtration system wasn't keeping up, which made me a little bit hesitant on getting in, and I was kind of disappointed about it. To be perfectly fair, my husband felt like I was overreacting just a little bit, but I mean, you're paying premium rates, so you expect premium quality. Another feature we really appreciated was the full gym. It is massive. Honestly, probably the biggest gym I have ever seen in an all-inclusive resort. It has everything you could possibly need, including a separate yoga room. And oddly enough, there's actually a trainer that was in here every day, hanging out, encouraging, teaching classes, and just hyping you up. The only thing that we didn't like was the hours. Let's talk about the buffet because let's be real, buffets at all inclusive resorts can be very hit or miss. And this one had its highs and lows. Starting off with the positives. Food looked amazing, beautifully presented and super appetizing. The fresh fruit selection was a standout for me. They have a variety of cut fruits out every morning and everything was fresh, ripe, and ready to go. I also loved having yogurt available daily, easy, refreshing, and exactly what I needed. They also had a smoothie station, which was a nice little touch. But my favorite part of this entire situation was the omelet station. You could order your fresh omelet made to your liking. Once I figured that out, it became my go-to. I had an omelet every single morning. Now, for the cons. Pre-cooked hot items like the bacon, the platanos, the potatoes, and the scrambled eggs were unfortunately cold. That's always a little disappointing when you're expecting something hot off the buffet line. Definitely turned me off from grabbing anything that had been sitting out too long. And while the desserts looked great, I didn't personally try any. Just wasn't in the mood for sweets in the morning, but visually they were definitely a strong point. So overall, the buffet wasn't perfect, but if you stick to the fresh items and hit the omelet station, you'll be off to a good start every day. Even though we were here for my birthday this year, I did appreciate seeing a gorgeous bridal room and having the salon right across the way. It was a nice touch for anybody looking to get married in this resort. The grounds are beautiful, everything is lush, well kept, and walkable. We loved strolling the property in the mornings and evenings. It's peaceful and photogenic with plenty of little tucked away spots. The Sky Bar is a must visit. These views are honestly the reason why I regretted not choosing the room that my husband wanted to stay in. He really wanted to stay in the Excellence two-story suite, any of the two-story options, when I wanted to stay in the private pool and deck option. This is as tall as the third story, which if you look, the third and fourth story are the two-story suites. So since we're level with the third floor right now, imagine how beautiful this would look at the fourth floor. Here's a better view. So this is the swim up, ocean view, and then you also have the two-story terrace. So the first level is the swim up, the second and the third story is the two-story portion of the terrace. Some of the other buildings, the terrace is on the third and fourth floor. Now let's talk about the beach. Unfortunately, during our stay from June 29th to June 4th, 2025, the beach was basically unusable due to the seaweed. The resort worked really, really hard to manage it. You could see their effort they put in, but it was just one of those natural things that was out of our control. So I wasn't really mad about it. Because of that, I really wish I would have booked a room with an ocean view, or even the two-story suite that I had talked about earlier in the video, because then I would have been able to enjoy an actual view, since enjoying the beach was kind of out of the question. Now, a nice little touch that I did notice before when we've stayed at other Excellence resorts was they do have all of these little supplies that you can use whenever you need to on the Excellence side of the beach, which is definitely appreciated in case you forget. We also noticed and appreciated that each of the bars had a different menu to choose from. This is another one of the Excellence bars, but to be perfectly honest with you, we didn't use it at all. I did think it was a nice touch that they had food trucks and a smoothie bar. This smoothie bar blew me away. So many different options to choose from, but my favorite was this one specifically. This one, I think it was called Berry Mama. I learned that I enjoy coconut cream this day.
So even though this year there was a lot of seaweed, they are doing everything they can to keep it clean.
You remember earlier in my video how much seaweed there was on the beach?
They go through and they repave the sand area so it's not all muddy too, which is definitely appreciated.
Doing everything they can, cleaning the area.
So we have these massages booked every day, and yesterday when we came past this area, it was a black pit of soggy grossness. So this is way better, and I'm curious to see how it looks tomorrow as well.
So this is the walk on the way over to Tropical Treasures, which is the massage parlor that's nearby the resort. It's about a 10 to 15 minute walk, and they have 60-minute massages for $45 and 90-minute massages for $60.
Nice thing is while you're walking to this massage parlor place, you actually get the vibe of Finest, which is right next door to El Carmen's resort, so you can kind of see what they have available if it works for you, if you don't like it. And to my understanding, their Excellence Club is adults only, but the rest of the resort, kids are allowed. I will also say the majority of this walk to Tropical Treasure Massage Parlor has a wooded boardwalk, so you don't actually have to walk on the sand. I'd say about 90% of this walk, you can walk on this boardwalk. However, if you come here during the time of year where there's no seaweed on the beach, then obviously a beach walk would be ideal. This is how bad the seaweed is over here on this side, but that is the massage place.
Once you get inside, they have a great gift shop to go through, and they take cash and card, though card is taxed versus cash is not taxed. A lot of little knickknacks. The prices are very reasonable. and they have a great jewelry selection.
Just to give you guys an idea of what the non-Excellence Club Junior Suite private pool style looks like. But the garden view is pretty. Got pretty much everything blocked off, and this whole ground level is where the pool is. You should be able to get a little shot. Right here, you can kind of see it. Got all the pools are on an angle. The terrace and the two other, they're probably just regular junior suite rooms, right? Garden views, regular junior suites in the second and third level, and then the terrace on the fourth level. Very blocked off, so I will say that it's quite private. You can't see much inside, which is good. But in between each room, you can see the other side. This is what the swim up looks like, and then these front little tiki hut cabana styles are specific to each room. This was one of the rooms we were interested in, and we did look into trying to upgrade either to this room or to the terrace, but by the time we got here, everything was booked up. But in our opinion, we think the swim up might be a downgrade in comparison because we have the private pool with the deck. One of the things we can't seem to figure out is how to turn these on though. They seem to be all over the resort, and the jets do work. So no buttons. And then here's the day bed you can see on the terrace. My husband really wanted to do the terrace, and I told him no, and honestly I'm a little bit regretting it because if you remember earlier in my video, the sky bar view, you can see all of the ocean all the way across, and this terrace sit higher than the sky bar. So these are your swim up options. Ocean view. And then here's the main pool that we're walking into. Actually, that's the sky bar lounge that I was talking about earlier.
I'm going to be slightly biased here because I love Italian food. I could have just eaten that bread alone. That bread was so good. This is probably one of my favorite restaurants. All of this food was delicious. There was not a bad meal here, and I actually quite enjoyed that tiramisu. Now, this was my favorite drink, the mango martini. I intended to go down the martini list and just try them all, but this one was so good, I couldn't not get it every single time. Now, I will say the nightlife was a little bit lacking at this particular resort. I was neither here nor there for some of the shows. However, they did have a karaoke night, and that was funny.
July 2nd. This is how much seaweed we have on the beach. Don't get me wrong, it's still absolutely beautiful out here. It's just this much. Now's not a good time to come. You can't even go in the water. You can't enjoy anything past this point. Now, did I know that the seaweed was there? Yes. Did I realize it was that bad? No. Should I have done my own research? Probably. But does it bother me? No, not really. The thing we've been back and forth on trying to figure out is if it's 3 nights, 4 nights, or 5 nights. What makes the most sense? Do you do the more expensive room and a 3-night stay? Or do you just save up the money and do the 5-night? And do the lesser expensive room?
Just to add to my food review from earlier, the room service food did not disappoint.
Building 3, this is the view. So this is building 5. So building 5's unobstructed beach view. So this is building 7. And this is the view we got going on there. So if you are any one of these middle rooms in building 7, direct line sight. This is building 9. And the shrubbery is a little lower. You just have a decent amount of palm trees and then your normal tiki hut cabana style.
And this is the Imperial building. Now, this is the view for that. Each one of these cabanas is specific to each room since they were numbered with the room number. Okay, this is one of the restaurants that I have not talked about yet. This is Chez Isabelle, which is their French-inspired restaurant. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was disappointed. I'm gonna give this one a 3, maybe even a 4 out of 10. The soups were good, and that was the only thing we liked. The salad was mediocre. Those lamb chops were dry. I don't even know what those balls were. Tried to eat it, didn't like it, and now that I'm looking at this in this video, sight for sore eyes. The dessert was lacking entirely to the point where we ended up going to get a second meal right afterwards.
So we did a full spread of the Excellence extended menu breakfast, and this is what it looks like. Got some Frenchy toast, an omelet, chilaquiles, fresh fruit platter, and smoothie that has mango, berry, and banana in it.
Excellence El Carmen had a lot of things I appreciated, from the relaxing atmosphere to a few standout food and drink options, and I absolutely made the most of my time there. It's a beautiful resort with so much potential, but it just didn't leave a lasting impression the way that I'd hoped. The service felt a bit off, and some areas could definitely use a refresh to really match that luxury experience the brand is known for. I didn't walk away disappointed, but I didn't walk away feeling like this was a place I couldn't wait to return to either. With some updates and a bit more attention to detail, I really do think El Carmen could really shine. But for now, I'm more excited to explore other Excellence properties and see what else the brand has to offer.